It's 4 p.m. in Lagos, Nigeria. Here's what's coming up on Network Africa. Tunisian President Kais Saied wins second term in office by landslide amid low voter turnout. Former Senegalese President Macky Sall steps down from position as special envoy for the Paris Pact to pursue political ambition. Plus, at least 10 dead, unknown number missing in wake of Zambia mine collapse. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Ayotunde Balogun in Lagos. Let's start from Tunisia, where the president, Kais Saied, has achieved a decisive victory in Tunisia's election, solidifying his hold on power. According to the head of the Independent High Authority for Elections, Farouk Bouaska. Now, the voter turnout was recorded at 28.8%, with over 2.8 million votes cast from a total of 9.75 million eligible voters. The electoral body recorded 90.7% of the votes for the president, just one day after exit polls suggested he had a considerable lead in the North African country known as the origin of the Arab Spring more than a decade ago. Mr. Saied's first term was marked by the imprisonment of opponents and significant changes to the country's institutions that expanded his authority. His closest competitor, businessman Ayachi Zamel, garnered 7.4% of the vote, in spite of spending most of the campaign in prison due to various sentences for election-related offenses. Opposition parties chose to boycott the election, labeling it a farce amid Tunisia's worsening political situation and increasing authoritarianism. Over in Senegal, former President Macky Sall has stepped down from his position as Special Envoy for the Paris Pact for People and the Planet, also called 4P, a role he was appointed to by French President Emmanuel Macron in 2023. His resignation coincides with his nomination as the leader of the opposition coalition Taku Wallu. In his resignation letter, Mr. Macky Sall explained his move as his desire to avoid any risk of incompatibility and conflict of interest with his candidacy in the legislative elections. Emmanuel Macron offered this position as special envoy for the Paris Pact to Macky Sall after the latter decided not to seek a third term. Sall's potential return to the political scene after stepping down in favor of Bassirou Diomaye Faye marks a critical turning point in the legislative campaign. Islanders who had to leave their distant Indian Ocean home of Chagos for a US military base half a century ago have protested outside the UK Parliament. Their contention is that last week the British government announced its decision to cede the Chagos Islands to Mauritius with the condition that the American naval and bomber base remains on one of the islands, Diego Garcia. Critics claim that the government has given up control over a British territory. This agreement has left displaced residents unsure about their ability to return home. They argue that the recent agreement has determined the future of their homeland without their involvement. Located just south of the equator of the coast of India, the Chagos Islands have been under British rule since 1814. They became known as the British Indian Ocean Territory in 1965, when they were detached from Mauritius, a British colony that gained its independence 3 years afterward.
They shouldn't have made this deal without asking us what we wanted. We get a say. We should be getting a say. We should be at the forefront of any negotiations that is happening about our home. This is not, it might just be another island to them. It might just be a military base for them. It might just be keeping everybody else safe. But to us, it is home.
Today, they have a deal which is suitable for them, best for them, of course. And what about the people? What about the people that they ignored like 65 years ago? Like myself, I felt like today is like history repeating itself.
I think it's absolutely critical that David Lammy and Keir Starmer and the entire government is clear that they will not be righting the wrongs of the past. They will not be complying with their international obligations unless and until the Chagosian community are centred in any agreement and are returned and allowed to return to their homeland and are compensated.
Kenyan MPs are due to vote on whether to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in a political row that has gripped the nation following his recent fallout with President William Ruto. The lawmakers are accusing Mr. Gachagua of corruption, practicing ethnically divisive politics, and undermining the government, among a host of other charges. The 59-year-old deputy president, popularly known as Rigi G, has described the allegations against him as outrageous and sheer propaganda, maintaining they are part of a plot to hound him out of office. He is expected to appear before Parliament to defend himself before the vote, after which impeachment proceedings will move to the Senate. Political tensions have been running high in the East African country since June, when deadly demonstrations erupted over unpopular tax hikes, exposing a deep rift between Ruto and Gachagua. So joining us on the program now is Kenyan journalist Cyrus Umbati. Cyrus is speaking to us from the capital of Kenya, Nairobi. Hello, Cyrus. Could you tell us what issues have caused... Yes, good to have you. Could you tell us what issues have caused this deep rift between the president and his deputy?
Well, thank you for having me the show. As you put very clearly, Mr. Gachagua is currently before the parliament defending himself against the accusation that has been given by the MPs. The difference actually stems from since they came to power in 2022, and because of everyone has political ambitions. Mr. Gachagua wants to succeed in Ruto maybe after he finishes his term, maybe 2027. There are claims of corruption, there are claims of him being a tribalist, but then there's a political process which is ongoing, as we have seen very clearly, because the issue of corruption is all over the country. So you can't say that Mr. Gachagua himself is the one who's corrupt so far, as we're speaking now.
All right, so is the Deputy President Gachagua one of the officials the protesters were angry with? I mean, did they demand his resignation in June also?
Yeah, in June when the protests occurred across the country that month, he was among those people they are demanding to leave because he's a deputy president. So if they came to power as a package, so there's no way Mr. Ruto can alienate himself from the whole thing, the whole mess. Him and Mr. Ruto, they're the people who are protesting against it because they say their leadership is poor, so they needed to leave to give room to other people to take the country forward.
All right, so Cyrus, the president sacked most of his cabinet over the tax protests, but then turned around and took back some. Give us a sense of what the relationship is between the cabinet secretaries and the members of parliament.
Well, you see, as we are speaking, we have clearly say that parliament is actually captured by the executive. The cabinet is part of the executive. So whatever Ruto actually dictates to parliament, usually passes the way he wants. So I don't think there is any bad relationship between parliament and the executive led by Mr. Ruto because he has been having his way all through. So that's why they passed the same cabinet who had been sacked. Of course, they invoke so many laws here and they're saying they are allowed to go back to cabinet, but then Kenyans were not happy with the return of some of those people who had been sacked earlier on.
So as things stand now, what do you think is the mood really with the citizens? I mean, Kenyans, how are they taking all of this?
Well, on Friday we had what we call public participation about the impeachment motion against the deputy president, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua. And majority of the people are actually saying that both Mr. Ruto and Gachagua should leave. But then the person who was on trial was Mr. Gachagua, so you cannot kind of tie Mr. Ruto to that. People are not happy with the kind of leadership we are experiencing. So that's why they are saying both of them should leave. But then it's a political process, as we are expecting now. Mr. Gachagua is before parliament, and we anticipate that he will be impeached because the mood in the house itself, the parliament itself, they are saying he must go because they're accusing him of so many, around 11 charges, which if one of them is actually upheld, is gone. So from parliament, it will go to the Senate, which may take almost two weeks. From there, then it will be confirmed that he was impeached. But then he has vowed that he will fight this thing in court. So it's a wait and see.
And as we finally round up, Cyrus, when is the deputy president likely to, make his defense?
As we are speaking now, he's been in parliament. As we are speaking now, he's in parliament. In the last 1 hour, he has been in parliament. He's facing the members of parliament defending himself. So is stating, or rather debunking all the accusations one by one. So we are expecting that after the next 10 minutes, we will start again now facing questions from the MPs to kind of clarify what he meant by statement. So it's an ongoing exercise as we are speaking.
All right, thank you so much, Cyrus, for your analysis on the situation in Kenya. Thank you once again.
Thank you for me, the show.
At least 10 people are dead and an unknown number are missing after a mine collapsed in central Zambia. Authorities there say rescue operations are going on, and it is not clear exactly how many miners are underground. The collapse occurred in the district of Mumbwa, about 150 kilometers west of the capital, Lusaka. Authorities have not given cause for the collapse. 9 bodies were recovered from the site and a 10th person died in the hospital, while 5 injured persons are being treated in hospital. According to a government minister and the local member of parliament, Collins Nzovo, 20 miners are missing and feared dead, although the police didn't confirm that number. Dozens of union workers have held a dancing protest in front of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange to demand government action on labour policy amid the rising cost of living. Protesters marched and danced their way to the JSE in South Africa, holding banners and signs reading, "Defend our right to strike, a living wage now," among others. Some of the points of contention are the mounting job losses in the mining industry, budget cutting, and two-pot retirement system. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa amended the two-pot system in June to allow citizens make partial withdrawals from retirement funds while preserving the part that can only be accessed upon retirement.
I'm here to join the march today because the government is failing us dismally. The unemployment rate has gone up, but even before that, those even who are working are suffering more than those who are not working. Because remember, we have bonds to pay, we have everything. So if we have bond to pay and 75 basis point increase every time, it's killing us.
We are here today to give full support to the action that COSATU is taking to protest against the retrenchments. Not only do we see mounting job losses in the mining industry, it's already 10,000. But government itself is contributing by cutting budgets, compelling departments to freeze posts. What appears to us as complete madness, there's actually a method in this madness. The reason why, for example, the government is cutting the budget is so that it can service the debt that it itself created by reducing corporate tax from 52% that it was in 1992 to 27% today, compelling them to go onto the financial money markets to borrow at the rate of between 1.5 and 2 billion per day.
The system is failing us. It's failing us a lot because all the money that we are supposed to receive is going to tax. Now we are pleading that maybe next year, if ever somebody is qualifying for the scheme, we can get enough money for ourselves.
You're watching Network Africa. Still ahead on the program. New executives of Nigerian Medical Association hold maiden conference in Lagos to reverse medical tourism. Details in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Out of a global health industry worth $12 trillion, Nigeria controls only $6 billion, in spite of being a leading exporter of health professionals. That's according to statistics from the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, which convened a healthcare expo in Lagos to address sustainability of services in the private sector with a view to reversing medical tourism. Our correspondent, Mary Alali Yusuf, reports.
This hall is filled with physicians who have come to deliberate on ways to reduce medical tourism and enhance the quality of care in the country. The president of the Nigerian Medical Association gives a snapshot of the problem in his opening speech.
The global market for medical tourism exceeds $100 billion. However, Nigeria only contributes to this as an exporter of patients. with an annual flight of capital of over $2 billion to medical tourism. This is predicted to get worse unless we intervene as a nation.
For some time, experts have agreed that private-public partnership is the way to go for sustainable quality healthcare. The question is the terms of the relationship. The CMD of the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital speaks for the public sector.
It's not all PPPs may be in form of medical equipment or medical services, no. The infrastructural support is far more important than the equipment.
The Lagos State Commissioner for Health believes that the state has a winning model for drawing investment to the sector.
So what we're trying to do in Lagos is to restore healthcare back into the mainstream economy and activate what is described by economists as the invisible hand of the free market. This will automatically make the healthcare attractive to investors, reverse brain drain, accelerate brain gain, and neutralize outbound tourism.
The NMA points out that there is a lot of talent in the country which Nigerians are not aware of.
It's important we reverse medical tourism, and it has to be driven by the Nigerian Medical Association so that we can give opportunity for people to know what are the healthcare indices, healthcare healthcare services available for us in Nigeria. They are cost effective. There's little dollar flight because what you pay for those services abroad are very, very much. For example, to get a kidney transplant done in America, you take about 2.5 years.
The NMA is optimistic that Nigeria's healthcare system can be vibrant, reversing medical tourism and attracting patients from other countries, if the government creates a protected healthcare space which can attract private investment. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
Still in Lagos, in a bid to promote environmental sustainability and meet climate change targets, the Lagos State Parks and Gardens Agency, in collaboration with the Lagos State Ferry Services and the Lagos State Coconut Development Authority, has championed a symbolic tree planting exercise at the Lagos Ferry Terminal in Mile 2 area of Lagos. The general manager of LAS Park, Adito Nkukwola, explains that the agency is exploring diverse strategies by involving top government officials to significantly increase the number of trees planted across Lagos before the next tree planting day.
Heads of agencies in Lagos State make out time to plant 57 trees at the Lagos Ferry Terminal in Mile 2 area of Lagos, symbolizing the state's ongoing commitment to greening its urban spaces. The initiative, championed by the Lagos State Parks and Gardens Agency in collaboration with the State Ferry Services, is part of the state government's efforts to combat climate change and achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
For the ecosystem to be complete, we must encourage and promote tree planting wherever we find ourselves.
One of the things we're doing here today shows that we're really collaborating because we're merely mitigating against the effects of climate change. And climate change is real. So planting a tree will help to mitigate the effects of climate change.
You know, as I say, trees actually save life, and trees are very important to the environment. So we're very happy about this collaboration as we continue to keep our environment clean and safe.
Reducing vehicular emission and achieving climate resilience is also part of the discussion. The state government explains the steps taken for conversion of petrol cars to compressed natural gas.
We're building infrastructure for refueling of those vehicles to gas. Also, we're bringing that to the buses, hopefully soon as well. So look forward to that. So it's the entire transportation fleet and also to private cars.
The Lagos State Parks and Gardens Agency and LAC Ferry say the tree planting exercise is part of the plan to plant 20,000 trees across the state by July 2025 and to promote a greener, healthier environment for all citizens.
Lagos State Tree Planting Day on July 14th. We planted trees with all the local governments in Lagos. We planted trees. The governor even planted, the deputy governor as well, and their wives, the head of service, the chief of staff. Everybody has planted symbolically to show that it's not a last pack thing. It's an everybody thing. We're also calling on other private organizations, individuals, NGOs to come and partner with us to plant trees. 20,000 is not an easy feat, but we will do it. Before July 14th next year, we'll be able to report that we've planted and ensure that 20,000 trees have survived in Lagos State. Collaboration between LACVERY and LASPAC is to ensure a very sustainable environment and greener environment. So what we are doing today is to take advantage of our environment, our premises here at My 2, Lagos State Ferry Services, and ensure that we plant trees, not for today, but for the future generation. So the collaboration is going to help us add value to our environment and also ensure that the ecosystem is, greening and sustainable.
The event was rounded off with a presentation of tree planting certificates to head of agencies to further support the tree planting initiative, support biodiversity in Lagos State, and improve the environment for future generations.
The Zamfara state government has expressed commitment to improving healthcare services and has embarked on massive reconstruction, renovation, and equipping of hospitals across the state to offer quality services to the residents. The state's Director General of Public Enlightenment, Media and Communication, Mr. Nuhu Anka, said this while inspecting ongoing projects in several hospitals in Gusau, the state capital.
Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State, in his efforts to improve the health sector, declared a state of emergency and began reconstructing, renovating, and equipping general hospitals in the state, which were previously in poor condition. The hospitals in Kaura Namoda, Maru, Maradun, and Nasarawa Burukulu in Bukuyum local government have been completed and inaugurated, while work continues in others. The Director General of Public Enlightenment, Media and Communication, Nuhu Anka, led journalists on an inspection of remodeling projects at Yariman Bakura Specialist Hospital, King Fahad and Farida General Hospitals in Gusau, explaining the purpose of massive renovations.
What you have seen now and what we are about to see in the future has justified what His Excellency said and what he has done on this sector. The state of emergency he declared on health sector, from what we have seen so far. It is our hope and wish that these facilities that are going to be provided will be fully utilized.
The project manager for the remodeling of Yaraman Bakura Specialist Hospital and the site manager of Farida General Hospital provided updates on the progress and quality of work.
Because of the progress, I can say we are at almost 50 or 60%, because the challenging part is the construction aspect, and then for most of the new structures we were done with the substructure, some were at the dental level, some were at the head cost level, and for the equipment, a lot of it has been procured, and in the shortest period of time, it's going to be delivered to the hospital.
As you can see physically, our work is to the world standard, and we are abiding by the agreement of the contract.
At Farida General Hospital, several areas such as the emergency ward, administrative section, perimeter fence, and security posts have been completed and in use, with additional blocks expected to be finished in the next 2 weeks.
And that's Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balu.